Yeah, I learned a lot in 2016. Some don't see the cost just to chase dreams. Half of y'all never want to struggle, but still expect the beauty this amazing grind brings. That's jaded. Me, I took a leap. No school, I'm in this without a single guarantee. No fallback, no backup plan. Mama said get a plan B, just to know I'm not that man, so I'ma get it. No other option in my system. Now I'm up next. Remember when no one would listen? From that kid they picked on back in middle school, like every day, to the man of the year in my state in every way. I worked hard until my craft bloomed. Called exactly where I am now, like last June. Words mean nothing but these stats do. Read it on my tattoo. Beauty in the struggle, I got everything they lack. Ooh. Ignorance is bliss. I don't wanna know my future. Cause if I knew I'd blow, I probably wouldn't work as hard. Maybe this could be the death of me. Giving in my all until there's nothing left of me. Trusting what's ahead, I wanna live for everything. Pray to God my family never has to see a rest in peace. I'll never change. Just because they listen doesn't mean they hear it. Y'all came away trying to be a hero, so I die a legend. Y'all never change. Just because they listen doesn't mean they hear it. Y'all came away trying to be a hero, so I die a legend. So I die a legend. So I die a legend. They said my sound was never mainstream, but people in my inbox said, Justin, you saved me from dark depression to those suicidal thoughts I was looking for and out until your music came across. Now my life has changed. I just feel like I relate to every lyric that goes on that page. And even if you never read this, I just hope you know, without your music, my life, it wouldn't have been the same. Yeah. Ignorance is bliss. I don't wanna know my future. Cause if I knew I'd blow, I probably wouldn't work as hard. Maybe this could be the death of me. Giving in my all until there's nothing left of me. Trusting what's ahead, I wanna live for everything. Pray to God my family never has to see a rest in peace. Y'all never change. Just because they listen doesn't mean they hear it. Y'all came away trying to be a hero, so I die a legend. Y'all never change. Just because they listen doesn't mean they hear it. Y'all came away trying to be a hero, so I die a legend. Y'all never change. Just because they listen doesn't mean they hear it. Y'all came away trying to be a hero, so I die a legend. Y'all never change. Just because they listen doesn't mean they hear it. Y'all came away trying to be a hero, so I die a legend.
What's up, everybody? Happy Monday. Nice to see a few of you here. Market's been pretty dead, so not expecting a ton of attention today. Gonna kind of cover things quickly, move on with it, kind of talk about what we were talking about last week, go over some confirmations that we had made. First things first. Derek, what's up? Yes, sir. How's it going, man? I had a great weekend. Had family in town, so spent a lot of time with them. And the weather was super nice, so we were outside doing stuff. Feeling pretty good. Dorian, what's up, dude? Plus, UFC 302 was on. I will say it wasn't that entertaining. I'm going to come out and say it right now. It really wasn't that great. I feel bad for Dustin, but really every single fight was not – it wasn't very entertaining. It was very boring. A lot of very dominant ground-based games, which is, it's cool to watch, but a 5-round fight of not a lot of big stuff happening is not, it's not that fun. Plus, the Sean Strickland fight was really boring, too. I mean, you had Costa just backing up the whole time. Nothing really happened. Anyways, let's get into it. Let's cover all this and get in and get out. First things first, guys. S&P. And right before I start, I did want to say, I made this tweet earlier, but I do a private analysis every day, much more in depth than this live stream. We cover trade setups. We cover any kind of news-related events. I mean, it's similar to the live stream in a way, but much more in depth, much more talking about anticipation. So if you're interested in that, go look at the Patreon link in the description. If not, no worries. Let's get into this. So, SPX last week, I think it was on Wednesday, we had called out the divergences that were forming. We have higher highs in price, lower highs in RSI. To my belief, not only are we in a very boring part of the year, and I related this morning. So May through July, and I'll show you this in a second on the chart. May through July, typically nothing happens. Right, market moves sideways. Maybe there's a decent move here and there, but realistically, nothing really happens. The same could be said for Christmas through New Year's Eve. Again, nothing really happens. So we're kind of in that part of the year that very low trading volume. Not a lot of people are watching. A lot of people are, and not even necessarily a lot of people. A lot of funds are not as active. There's a lot of people taking vacations. There's a lot of people going to college graduations. The weather's finally nice. People are outside. So this time of the year is usually pretty slow. And we've seen that dozens of times through history. But just to give you a quick refresher, Bitcoin during May of 2020, and honestly, we're talking bull market cycles as well. This was May of 2020 all the way to July. This is, give or take, I guess we can say the 1st of May, just to be safe. I mean, that's 81 days. That's almost 3 months of sideways movement. Very, very, very boring. If you want my honest opinion, really none of this was that tradable. At least on a swing trade perspective, none of this was tradable. Volume wasn't validating. We didn't break out of anything. We were just ranging. We were creating volatility. It's a slow period. You could say, oh, we had a breakout here. Yes, but look at the volume, right? The volume wasn't there to validate that breakout. Lots of rejections, lots of chop, lots of very, very boring, choppy price action, which I will go to my grave saying is not worth trading at all. Just a side note, we are, Castillo Trading and I are working on creating an algo, like a bot, that will trade this chop. We're trying to get like 3 to 5% a month. Basically, like make sure the bot can profit, like make you profits of 3 to 5% a month. Now, granted, there will be some red months. We're hoping mostly green, and by the end of the year, you can walk away with 30 to 60% profits. Again, it's just like another kind of trading perspective. If you're someone with a lot of money and you want some more passive income, now 60% a year is crazy, by the way. That's much more than a lot of people's 401. I mean, that's more than pretty much everyone's 401k gets. Sorry, this mic's a piece of shit. But we're working on something like that. So when that's finalized, I'll let you guys know more details. But we're approaching finalization. We have to test it. I'm going to test it for another couple months. So far, it's been proven successful. But we're going to tweak it a little bit, see if we can make some. Yeah, you can't perfect anything, but make it as close to perfect as we can. I don't want to give you guys a bad product. The judges judged horribly from the beginning. One judge had Costa 10. Yeah, I don't know. Costa didn't win any of those rounds. That was absurd. Nothing beats good family time. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, back to the SPX, guys. Again, we're in that boring time period. I don't blame anyone that they don't want to watch the streams all the time, at least until July. Guys, it's boring. I'm going to be streaming regardless. But this is a very boring time. We've already talked about the divergences on the weekly. We're going to move on to the DXY. So, the dollar is now losing 104 support. This is huge. We've lost the diagonal. We've also lost the horizontal. Absolutely huge for the future of stocks and crypto. Now, I am under the assumption that the SPX is going to continue sideways. It has to sort these bearish divergences that are created, create bullish divergences, and then move higher. Again, this would create a huge bull flag. Very, very clean, easy to understand. I mean, we need some cool off. We need some sideways in order to continue higher. But this is huge. A first good sign. The DXY finally breaking down. That one of the dogs is underneath my desk, and he's just ripping ass, dude. It stinks. That is smelly. That's smelly. God. Anyways, we've lost 104. This is huge, or we're losing 104. I mean, to me, it looks like we're pretty much lost. I mean, I'd like to see us lose this wick, but this is a good sign. Very, very good sign. Now, granted, we have to close a weekly. It's only Monday. Things can change. This is a very, very, very good sign. So total, you guys know on the weekly, and I'm bringing up the weekly today just to keep you guys refreshed. You guys know that there are bullish divergences that exist on the weekly, and I'm going to say this, just to be blunt, like you should be looking for longs. You should not be looking for shorts. Unless you're scalping and day trading, you should be ultimately looking for longs in this range. All this is a corrective range to continue higher. Now, who's to say it won't happen for another month, or another month or two, go into July? And sorry, I'm drawing. I know the time frame is different, but what if we did something like this? You get into July, we start heading upwards, we break that range, and continue from there, right? We've talked about how boring of a time period it is from basically now until mid-July, maybe mid-June at the best. Let me see if I can find another example. I mean, this is historically a slow time. So, I mean, you could argue not a lot happened here from kind of the end of May until September. I mean, summertime is a notoriously slow period, right? I mean, you either have the beginning of summer or the end of summer. Last time we saw it was the kind of May to July. I think we saw it again here. From May, we had the crash, right? In June and July, we ranged. It was very boring, but we created the volatility and then sent higher going into late July and early August. And then I think in 2022, let me find where we are. I mean, July, August, September, late kind of summer, very, very boring. I mean, early summer, yes, we had lots of movement, but late summer, very, very boring once again. So to me, it looks like we're going to get that kind of May to July kind of range. I mean, guys, we've been in this range since March, right? We've spent 13 weeks. I mean, what is that? 21, 7, 90, 91 days? Yeah, okay. It says it right there. I'm doing the math in my head, and it says it right there. That's crazy. But 91 days in this range. It's been very, very boring. And in a way, kind of tough to trade. So don't be discouraged, guys. This is a range. You want to keep your head on the swivel. I've kind of said it a couple different times, but just check charts once or twice a day. You don't have to be looking nonstop, 10 hours a day. Just once or twice a day, just 15 minutes. Open up Bitcoin, open up Ethereum, maybe open up the dollar and SPX. It'll take you 15 to 20 minutes. But we want to stay in the loop. You want to make sure you're trying to catch that lower time frame reversal or that trade setup, especially if it's on a daily. You want to keep your head in the loop. That way, you're not overwhelming yourself, and two, you know what's going on in the market, right? When we're in this like very choppy, kind of shitty period, you don't need to be looking all the time. You don't need to necessarily be looking for trade setups all the time, but you should be knowing what's happening, and if there is a potential setup forming, be prepared for it. What's up, SS? How's it going? But more on, let's continue on to Tether dominance. Guys, all the total charts look exactly the same. There's bullish divergences on the weekly. We're consolidating on the daily. You know, I'd love to continue talking about it, but we've been talking about it for weeks. Let's just, I guess we'll just talk more macro, because the below the daily has literally done nothing almost for the last month. We're looking at the, Tether dominance. Guys, on a macro level, we still have that breakdown retest. We should continue. I still think we're going to get more of a range, create volatility. A big part of that is Bollinger Bands. I think our upper and lower band need to come together, really get some volatility creation. That way we can send it lower. And again, the more we consolidate, the bigger the move will be for the upside for Bitcoin and the downside for Tether. Let's keep moving. Let's keep moving. We'll talk about Bitcoin's lower time frames today. I think you guys get the gist on the weekly. We do have bullish divergences present between the last two lows, right? Bullish divergences, RSI and price. Another thing, I left Bollinger Bands open. I would like to see this range a bit more, right? Create that volatility come July, right? Come middle July. Bring those bands down closer together, create volatility like a bouncy ball. Think of a spring, right? Lots of energy building and bam, right? Then we can get that big move upwards. More on that later. We've talked about it in the past, but let's take a look at the daily. So a couple things. I tweeted this morning that you can't trust diagonals, and to be honest, you can't. Look what happened, right? Diagonals they're not to be completely ignored. They're just hard to judge. And if volume isn't validating the move, you can never trust them, ever. In a way, I almost think that, so we had this as the original. I almost think that this is the top of our diagonal. Because if you look at it from a 4-hour perspective, look where we rejected. We rejected horizontal 4-hour resistance. Right now we have this new diagonal here that lines up perfect with that resistance. Just a little bit of confluence. What I'd like to see is this to kind of fall and create just a beautiful reversal. Continue making higher lows, just create a beautiful reversal. And then send. And again, that would most likely be middle of June, maybe July. I mean, the range ultimately would end late July. Or excuse me, middle of July. Or excuse me, middle of June. I'm always looking at the timestamps, completely confused. But, you know, it's just been boring. I mean, since May 20th, we've been in a range inside of a range. Been very, very boring. And honestly, a lot of this pump was news-based anyways, based on the Ethereum ETF. And what was that, the inflation report or I believe this one came from inflation or interest rates or whatever it was. And then this one was the Ethereum ETF. So since then, we've basically done nothing. It almost seems like news has to be a catalyst because there's not enough people trading. Speaking of the 4-hour guys, there's really no trade setup. Again, I know I just drew this a second ago, but I'm really expecting something like this. Clean double bottom, clean reversal towards the end of the triangle. Get in on that trade and hopefully ride this through 73K. I would like to see on a macro level, and we know that this is ultimately a bull flag, right? I'd like to see this break, retest, and kind of fly into the 90s and into the 100s. Again, I'm under the assumption that we're in a bull market. I haven't had really any of the reasons to believe that we're not, and I'd like to see us continue in the coming weeks, really months and years. I'd like to see 2024 kind of be Bitcoin's bull market. In 2025, we go into kind of that alt season. Ethereum goes off, a lot of alts go off, and then we kind of round it off towards maybe Q2 25, maybe Q3 25. Again, hard to judge, but we'll see what happens when we get there. Just take a look at the 1 hour. Again, pretty nasty rejection this morning. Went from 70,300 almost to 68.4, 68.5. It's shocking to believe that it's only 3% correction, like almost $3,000. But regardless, nice little correction. Or excuse me, $2,000. But on the 1 hour, guys, we're just chopping around. I mean, I made the tweet as a joke just because there's nothing to talk about, but it's hard to trade the market when you do this or have very long periods of something like this. In my honest opinion, we come back down to the range lows, though, in the next coming days. Again, confluence with stocks. Stocks have divergences. Stocks are probably going to continue moving sideways, if not slightly lower. So I think that crypto will follow with it. I think we'll have till November for this cycle, to be honest, but hope not. I mean, we'll see. I mean, we haven't even seen alt season or a true liquidity shift, so for me, we're not even close. Once we see that liquidity shift, then yeah, we probably have like 3 to 6 months left. Stock Bitcoin dominance and then Ethereum, and then I'm going to call it a day, guys. So just a reminder that Bitcoin dominance is showing signs of trend reversal. I do not believe that this will cause alt season, but we'll have kind of an alt summer, especially with the Ethereum ETF being passed. I think Ethereum, Link, maybe ICP, some of these Tau, probably a lot of AI coins should do well. I think it'll be a select kind of group of altcoins that do well this summer, similar to the summer of 2020 where Link went from $2 to $20. Ethereum went from, I think it was like $90 to like $600 or whatever it was. Either way, I think a select group of alts will do well. I think Bitcoin will take the reins come the fall, likely go into the winter. I kind of have it drawn here. Bitcoin will likely do well, maybe get into the 63, 64%, you know, and then we'll probably start alt season. And I know timestamps, I don't think it'll go 2027 or 2026. Just as a visual, right? Don't look at the years. I know it's all sorts of screwed, but just look at the actual movement. I think we'll start an alt season come at least 25 winter, the winter of 25. How much is the school? The school would be, it's already listed on there. I think it's like 150 a month. It's going to be probably 20 weeks long. Would you advise someone who entered crypto newly to DCA some alts now? Depends on the alts. Depends on the alts. I mean, you have to remember there's 20,000 different alt projects, and not all of them are going to do well. I do ETH. Yes, we're going to do ETH now. And then I'm going to call it a day. Hold on, I had to... So ETH is holding a lot better than Bitcoin, in my opinion, especially following the kind of ETF news. Just moving sideways, holding old resistance as support for now. I mean, I initially thought that we were going to get some kind of correction, like a sell the news event, like we did with the Bitcoin ETF. So far, we're holding. So long as Bitcoin dominance continues moving lower and Ethereum to Bitcoin continues looking strong, especially in its state of reversal, I'd like to get into an Ethereum trade. Just hard to judge. We still haven't really broken the threshold, in my opinion, for Ethereum. We really need to get above the 0.061 for Ethereum to Bitcoin, but Ethereum as a whole is holding very, very well. But on the daily here, so long as we hold support, we're looking okay. Or Doge. I can look at Doge for a second for you. But I'll be honest, again, it's been very, very boring. I mean, since May 21st, we've done nothing. And there really hasn't been a solid trade setup. There hasn't been a solid area. I mean, it's all take longs, right? I would not look for shorts at this point in the market cycle. But you can't take longs in something you don't know where the invalidation is. You need the setup. And for right now, we haven't seen one. look at Doge real quick. Sure. Look at Doge. I'm just going to start from the weekly and move down to the 4 hour. To me, the weekly looks good. Looks like we had that large move up, consolidating, likely into some kind of bull flag. I don't really see anything wrong with it. I mean, it almost looks like this, where we kind of had that large movement up, made some kind of bull flag, brought likely overextended indicators back to norm, and then sent it upwards. I mean, we're holding above. We're holding prior resistance as support now, so that's extremely bullish. Let's look at the daily. Yeah, I mean, we had the kind of inverted head and shoulders. We're holding below the neckline at this point. I don't know. I don't consider it an inverted head and shoulders at this point, especially from how weak it is moving upwards. If you feel like you missed something, just go back in the stream. But let's look at the 4 hour. Yeah, no trade setup still. I just don't see anything worth trading. I mean, we're just chopping around. It sucks because I open this up every day hoping we'll get something. And I'm hoping Bitcoin comes back down to the range and we get something clean to take. I mean, that's what we're waiting for. It's just, name of the game is having patience right now, guys. We're in a very slow period historically. Usually the May through July months are very boring. So if you're sitting here like, oh my God, this market sucks, there's nothing going on, it's because we're in a historically slow period. So don't beat yourself up. Again, I wouldn't really look for choppy trades and taking, maybe scalping, but I wouldn't look for big trades here. Right, I think I'm going to end it there. Again, I apologize for this kind of quick stream. I just wanted to kind of catch up, follow up what we discussed last week. It's been very, very boring. I will be streaming Wednesday, probably not Friday. It just depends. I think I'm going to be gone Friday, but I need to double check. With that said, guys,